Thanks for the support as a channel member, Lee Hogan. Never let it be said that I don't listen to feedback. You wanted me to smarten up? I've smartened up. Now we just need to take care of your beloved Ike. Hello and welcome to part 38 of the Greek Odyssey. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a Europa League playoff second leg game against Ike and a league game. I know I promised you we'd come back a little bit sooner than this, but the plan was to do the second leg of the Standard Liège game and then the second leg of this playoff in one episode. But after we battered them 4-1 away from home in the first leg, it kind of seemed a little bit of a foregone conclusion and not worth showing you the second leg. So we absolutely smashed Standard Liège, but then got drawn against AEK Athens in the playoff to get into the Europa League group stages, and we lost the first leg at their place away from home. It was a narrow 2-1 defeat, and we need to turn that around, or else we're not going to have Europa League football. And even worse than not having Europa League football is missing out on the Europa League at the expense of our big local rivals and a team that we finished above in the league last year, although every time we played them, they did seem to have our number. So it's going to be tight. They've proven again that they can very much beat us. And off the back of that, I, of course, went out and panicked and thought, right, that's it. This squad isn't good enough. We're nowhere near competing with Olympiacos. To the transfers. And much transfers have happened. The big significant one is this one. Alberto Brunoli has left the club for £4 million. We signed him on a free transfer 2 years ago. He's played pretty much every game since, but we did sign Mendy and we did play him in the first couple of the Europa League games, and he was fine. Basically exactly the same. We did a comparison between the two and there was nothing really between the two, and we got a £4 million offer in for Brunoli, and it just seemed too good to turn down, especially with what we were able to then go and do with that money. And thing number one we did with that money is went and smashed our own transfer record for Nikola Bozic, who was wanted by Paris Saint-Germain, and we nipped in before them and got him for £2.2 million. So about half of the Brunoli money has gone on a 20-year-old Serbian central midfielder. But he is so... I've spoilt another transfer. He was so much better than everybody we already had at the club. So we thought, we might as well bring him in. And then I'll stop trying to hide him now. It's too spoilery. Duffy and Damien are both back. I thought, why not try? I tried for all three. I tried for Slattery, Duffy and Damien. Slattery didn't want to come back. Duffy and Damien are back. But the big headline is they're both here on 2-year loans. So Paul Duffy and Damien both back for the next 2 years on loan from Southampton. I don't understand why we're able to do this. Duffy has started the first 3 Premier League games for Southampton this season, and they thought, actually, you know what, a better use for this English wonder kid, because he is a proper wonder kid. Paul Duffy, wonder kid. A much better use for him, rather than playing him ourselves, is to loan him out to that Greek club for another 2 years. Same plan with Damien. He started the first 3 Premier League games of the season. I think he's a wonder kid too. He is. We have 2 English wonder kids in our team that are going to be here for the next couple of years. I know we didn't necessarily need them, but goodness me, would we have been silly not to take them. We also did a little bit more business as well. Ousmane Traoré is a 19-year-old Malian striker who's got 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Most excitingly for me is he's 6'6", but not slow with it. So he's, he's 6'6" and quite quick. I didn't need any more information than that. He's come in on a free transfer. And we also spent a little bit of money on, we basically poached a youngster from Ike just to, they beat us, we'll steal a player. Panagiotis Lagomitsis is a 17-year-old Greek under-19 international defensive midfielder with 4.5-star potential. We've just pinched him off of our local rivals, getting our own back for all the times they've done that to us. We did get another loan, which, looking back, if I'd have known I was going to get Paul Duffy back, I wouldn't have signed this guy. Mutir Chagia is a 25-year-old Belgian former under-21 international on loan from some team that I'm fairly sure doesn't exist. He would have been great. He's now our 6th choice central midfielder, and we should probably send him back. We're paying him £9,000 a week. We can't terminate his loan. Oh, well, good job we've got the Brunoli money, eh? Because our bank balance is looking very healthy. £5 million in the bank, still £1 million of spensies left, still well within our wage budget as well, and now with a very, very strong-looking squad. If we filter this to our 3-star players, which we've already done, we've got 4 good strikers, good options on both wing, plenty of good central midfielders, defensive midfielders, just a one good defender. We probably need to strengthen the defence. We've got Lawson and we've got Pritchard, who are both in on loan, and Mendy as a goalkeeper, but we don't really have defence that's up to the standard of the midfield and the attack. So it is an area we should probably look to strengthen, but not now. The deadline, I think it passes today and we're playing, so we're not bringing in any more players. The deadline is done. But excitingly, we have got a number of players now in the Media Dream 11. Ryan Lawson, Duffy, Bozic and Marola, all in the Media Dream 11. Marola, we're still going to try and sign permanently as soon as we get to Christmas. His contract with Milan is up at the end of next season. Bozic, of course, is here permanently and, like I say, was wanted by Paris Saint-Germain. And yes, although these two are on loan, they're both on loan long term and both here for the next couple of years. So we'll bring them in permanently eventually. I'd like to think by the time a 2-year loan for Duffy and Damien expires, we'll be bigger than Southampton anyway, and we might be able to prize them from their clutches. Or at the very least, they can help lead us to a Greek Super League title in that time. 4 of the 11 in the Dream 11 are now Apollon players. But it all kind of counts. It doesn't count for nothing, but it counts for less if we get knocked out of the Europa League against our local rivals. And a lot of those new signings aren't actually able to play because we've got a player missing off of our bench. How is that a thing? Add a player to the bench. But because you can only add one player at a time between rounds in the qualifiers, and we have a whole load of players who've signed recently who aren't able to play. So if we have a look at all of the ones who can't play, Damien, Duffy, I think Bozic is unregistered as well. Kouami's suspended. You can see there's a lot of players unregistered, basically. That's the spoiler for that story. We're not quite playing full strength again, although it's a very good side. It's not the best side we could put out, and it's certainly not the team that's going to play in our next league game, which we'll see in the second half of this episode. But we've stalled for long enough. Let's go up against Ike. Let's try and beat them and get into the Europa League. If we don't, I'm going to be very, very upset with myself. So we're going with Mendy in goal, a back four of Pritchard, Kios, Lawson and Kalapitas, Labru at the base of the midfielder, Tabo and Chirivella ahead of him, Jura and Mania behind Marola up front. Let's just get into the game and let's cross our fingers and let's hope that we can beat them. I mean, we know they're beatable, and we know over the course of last season that we were a better team than they are. It's just on the night. They beat us in the first leg, and they also beat us during the run-in at the end of last season. So it's a couple of wins on the bounce in these local derbies, and we do need to deal with that because they're going to have local bragging rights all year. So unless we then go on and win the league, we're never going to hear the end of it. They're just down the road. We need to beat them. So that's got to be the job now. Hopefully we've packed out the Georgios Kamaras with Apollon fans, and we'll roar the team to success. Hopefully the fact that, dressing the part, looking snazzy. I've even got a pocket square. I've never owned a pocket square before in my life before. This is what you lot have led me to. If you're wondering where your channel membership money goes, I used it to buy a suit or two. So, we're smartening things up a little bit on this series at the request of Mrs Wearmouth. And if you're really good, you might even see them over on Twitch, where I stream 4 nights a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, twitch.tv/LOLLUJO. Although I have got some new Hawaiian shirts for over there as well. Can't you tell it was my birthday? And I treat myself to some birthday clothes. Right, Etebo scores! 17 minutes on the clock, and it's Apollon 1, Ike 0, which is 2-2 on aggregate, and I'm like 80% sure away goals are a thing, and that we're now ahead in the tie. There's not a little A that's gone next to our name there, but I don't know if it even does that anymore. I know in old school Football Manager that used to happen, but I don't know if that's even a thing now. But I think we are ahead in the tie. If not, we're certainly not behind in the tie. We're ahead on the night. We've got the momentum, and we're looking good at the moment, as long as we don't concede here. Corner, cross comes in from the free kick, and Jura, who is our new club captain. Jura was made captain after the departure of Brunoli, who was our previous captain. So Jura taking over the captain's armband. He clears, and Pritchard now heads forward to Atebo. Shut up, Siri. Lebrou forward to Atebo again, who finds new captain Jura, plays the ball over the top to Marola, who is in here, and Marola shoots straight at the Ike goalkeeper. But we are looking dangerous. We're already looking infinitely better than we looked in the first leg of this tie away from home. It almost feels like I didn't need to go out and panic by 6 players like I did. It was pretty much as a direct result of losing in that game, and it was a bit of a. It was bringing me back down to earth with a bump after dealing with who was it? Standard Liège. After thumping them on 2 legs so comprehensively, I may have got a little bit ahead of myself and thought we were going to go and win everything this year, and not getting knocked out of the Champions League was just a blip. And then that game against Ike shook me. Sat there on a Friday night doing my transfers, thinking I've got to improve every part of this team. Thank goodness. I mean, I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse that the offer for Brunoli came in. At least having the Brunoli money means that I didn't actually spend money we didn't have, which I probably would have done if we hadn't have got that money. But it does mean we've lost one of our standout players for the last couple of years. And hopefully Mendy can step up and look any good. We have got Todd Thomas and Kieran Hodgkinson, 2 channel members, as young 5-star potential goalkeepers as well. So there was a method to my madness. We only really need 1 first-team goalkeeper and have the potential for a channel member to force their way through to be either the backup or even force their way through into the first team eventually, which if you're watching the Bourne series as well, it might be quite fun having 2 channel members as the goalkeepers in both series. I'll hold judgment on how fun it is until we see how good they are. But I'm sure they're having a lovely time getting a little bit more exposure. Right, Ike are trying to get an equaliser just before half-time, and an equaliser knocks the stuffing out of me a little bit because we've been by far the better team in this match, but we are the tie itself is still evenly balanced, and that's a lovely pass. Luckily, their striker absolutely bottles it, and Mendy didn't even have to make a save. It's kind of straight at him, and it's not hit very hard. Right, guard against complacency. I think we're ahead in the tie. I should really look it up, but arguably it's more fun not knowing because I don't know if we should be attacking or defending. So that means I can't make a bad decision because I've got nothing to base a decision on. Right, Jura charging through now, has a shot, which is, I mean, it's pretty tame from him as well, similar to the shot we were just mocking from the Ike player before. They're now fired up. I don't know what, I'm going to say get creative. I don't want to praise us in case we're only drawing on in the tie. I think we're ahead. I'm sure we're winning. Chirivella plays it across to Lebrou. Chirivella must know his days are numbered, and he's only just arrived. But with Duffy and Bozic both coming in, they're our first choice too. And Drutsos and Singh falling down the pecking order as well, as we start to put together a real top quality team. Jura, what a pass for Mayner. He didn't do anything with it. It was a lovely pass from Jura. Very, very much wasted, though. But Miner does well to win it back. Finds Marola! And now we know we're ahead in the tie. It's 2-0 to Apollon on the night. 3-2 to aggregate. 3-2 to aggregate. That's football That's football speak. We're this close. This close. I didn't even do my hands that time. With this close. The ice cream man's here. I can't eat an ice cream in a new suit. I can't go out and get an ice cream wearing a suit on the top half and combat shorts on the bottom half. You lot did this to me. I now can't have an ice cream. Ridiculous. Right, Juan's going to come on. And we're also going to bring Capone, one of our new wingers, on. One of many wingers that we've got knocking around the place that allowed us to sell Baja and the other one who I never really learnt the name of because he wasn't here for very long. Right, a goal here from Ike and the tie is level again. It was a good save from Mendy and then a good save from the post, and we do just about hang on. We're not clear by any stretch. Right, we're going to take off Pritchard and bring on one of our other new signings, Michaelis. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to take off Lebrou. Why did I said Pritchard. I moved Pritchard. I meant Michaelis at every step of that because he is our our Greek international centre-back who can also play defensive midfield and is going to be even more defensively solid than Lebrou is, because Lebrou has a little bit of attacking oomph about him, whereas Michaelis is very much defend. And if necessary, can drop him back into a 3 as well, which we can't really do with Lebrou. Chirivella to Michaelis, sorry, not Michaels. I'm getting back into non-meter legend mode. Juan's in, and there we have it. We are in the Europa League knockout rounds. Cartwheel from Juan. It's his first ever goal for the club, and it's 3-0 to Apollon on the night, and that is a job very well done. I was worried. I was very worried at various points leading into this because of what Ike did to us in that first leg, and hopefully history will show it was just a little bit of a blip. And you know, I think Duffy is the real standout, and Bozic, the two midfielders, if they go on to control our midfield and win us the league this year, then I guess the little bit of panic was worth it. The transfer window hasn't actually closed yet. Maybe we will look for a defender after all. But there we have confirmation. Let's just give him a pat on the head for a job well done. There's your confirmation. We are in the group stage. We get $2.5 million for that. So anyone who thinks I wasted money on Bozic, which I don't think anybody can, but we've just made more than that money back by qualifying. So I think that's a good summer. 8 million nearly in, 3 million nearly spent. Are there any defenders out there? Do we really need another player? I mean, the 3-star players on my thingy before suggest we probably do, if we could go and find some defenders. But we have got a lot of good young defenders at the club that I'm keen to not forget they exist. Yeah, there's nothing out there. I mean, we could spend 43 million on that guy. We're not going to. Just wanted to show you this, because I think it is worth looking at. The Wonder Kid situation, because we've got a really souped up youth system here at Apollon, as you know, but I don't know if it's club reputation or what's happening, because we're still not getting these kind of players through. Olympiakos, I mean, I guess they've signed him on a free transfer, but regardless, he's come through the system there and then gone to Olympiakos, so we never even scouted him. He never came through our youth system. They've sold him for 15 million quid at 19. Why are we not getting this guy come through our youth system? I thought the idea of having a really high quality youth system is that you've got all of the best players from your nation. I want a £15 million striker to come through. Here we go then, Europa League group stage draw. Do we get seeded this time, or are we still in pot 4? Even though we did well last year, we're still in pot 4. So we're gonna face some difficult teams. Let's get the top 3 in each group out and see if there's a group we like the look of, because we won't get it. Right, so Milan Dynamo. I think we could take that group. I think that group would be fine. Olympiakos are in that group, so they got knocked out before the Champions League this year, so we can't get that group, I don't think. But that's interesting that Olympiakos have only made it as far as we have now, so we're in the same competition as them. And of course, we've already knocked Ike out. Sporting, Besiktas, that looks like a hard group. PAOK are in here with us, so we can't go in that group. How can PAOK get seeded, top seeds? I don't understand how that's happened. Tottenham, Trabzonspor, Bate. I want to avoid Tottenham. This one looks like a group we could win. We want Group G. Right. Okay. Sporting, that's the one I said I didn't want, wasn't it? That was the hard group that I identified. The moment I said that's the group I didn't want, we were always ending up in that one. So we're in a group with Sporting, Besiktas, Fiorentina. That is not an easy group. Well. So back in the league for a game against Volos means we can bring in some of these new signings now. So our new look midfield has Duffy and Bozic, with Atebo moving out onto the wing, which is, I'm assuming, the position he was playing for Stoke when he scored all these goals a few years ago back in the Championship. I'm guessing they then moved him into central midfield where he was less effective, but he can play in either. And we saw how good he was in central midfield in the last game, but out wide is definitely his future, I think, if he's going to be getting into this team. Damien comes in up front. That's not me going for Damien ahead of Marola as a rule. It's just Marola played in the last game. Damien can play in this one, and we'll let them fight it out again like they did last season and decide who's going to be our main man. And of course, we've got Kwame and Traore as well as attacking options. Good job Luris went in the summer, because he wouldn't get anywhere near this team anymore. This is a whole new world here at Apollon. We've definitely levelled this team up, and hopefully we can go out there and grab ourselves a win, which would be a second win of the season, because we did play our first league game of the season between the first and the second leg. We've already done that, which you didn't see. I know it's weird for me to not show you the first game of the season. I'm sure you'll cope. Calapetas with the long throw. Damien with the header that cannons back off the crossbar. And we were very close to taking an early lead in this game, but it's actually turning into a little bit of a counter-attack for Volos, who are coming down this right-hand side, or our left-hand side, but Duffy is there covering for Calapetas, who'd gone all the way over to take the throw on the other side. He'd gone all the way over there to cover for him and intercept, which is excellent. Jura now with the corner. Lawson is there, but the header goes just over from Ryan Lawson. And he's another one who's, I think I've mentioned, he's in on a 2-year loan as well now. So although we are building this team around loans to a certain extent, Lawson came through our youth team, and these other guys, they're ones I want to bring in permanently eventually. I don't know how realistically it is, but getting English wonder kids into my team just feels like a good idea. I'd like to think Duffy and Damien will force their way into the England team while still playing for Apollon, which would be fantastic if they do that. That would make me very pleased. Atebo trying to win the ball back on this right-hand side, and does, crossed over to Damien, and there's Damien's first goal to start off his third spell here at Apollon. It's Volos 0, Apollon 1 just before half-time, and that puts us, as it stands, right back up there at the top of the league with Ike and Olympiakos. And I think we are definitely shaping up as a big three in this league, although Power could probably have something to say about that as well, as they apparently get seeded in the Europa League draw when we don't. I still don't really understand why, but I guess you'd have to say it's a big four, and Panathinaikos are probably the ones who are a little bit miffed that they're not included in that big four. But you're not. You've been left behind, and we've come in and taken your place. Right. Guard against complacency. I don't actually know if Panathinaikos are considered a big club in real life anymore. I would put them in that group on the basis of, as an English fan who doesn't follow Greek football at all, I've heard of AEK Athens, I've heard of Olympiakos, I've heard of Panathinaikos, I've heard of PAOK Salonika, and that's about it. They're the four, really, that I guess play in Europe a lot. So I would consider that traditionally the big four, and I think we've pushed Panathinaikos out. Damien's hit the post again. That's his second, although apparently we've only hit the woodwork once, so one of them must have been a save. But to me, it looks like he's hit the woodwork twice in the first hour of this game. Could have had a hat trick, but we're approaching the 65th minute. We've not seen anything of Bozic yet, but he obviously is young, has time. We've spent an awful lot of money on him, but he's bought on the basis of Paris Saint-Germain wanted him, so he's obviously good. He got a 92 scouting report, and he was a 4.5-star player scouted with potential to still improve. He's going to go on and become a top player that we're going to be able to sell him on at some point. Damien's there with his second goal. So Bozic is either going to grow with us and be a star for us, or he's going to be someone we sell on for 10-15 million pounds in a year or two. Either way, although it's a lot of money now, it seems like a sensible investment. I don't see how he could go wrong unless we break him, but hopefully we won't. It's a bit of a gamble for a club our size, but that's how you push a club forward. You've got to be willing to gamble a little bit, or it takes forever to make progress. And at least we're not running up debt here like I do in every other series I ever do. We're actually managing the club relatively sensibly. We're staying within all our budgets. We're not using the never never. I'm being a good boy. I'm worried that a £2 million transfer might have been too expensive. This is a new Kev. That's poor from Mendy. That is really poor. Brunoli saves that without any question. I do hope we don't end up regretting that piece of business. £4 million for a 31-year-old we signed on a free transfer and had a replacement for, plus 2 5-star potential youngsters in the same position. It just seemed too good to turn down. But obviously, if Mendy ends up costing us goals, I hear goalkeeper's quite an important position. Right, Labru is going to come off. Chirivella can come on and play deep in there. And we're going to take off Jura and get a Manolidis on. Can Atebo play that side? He can, so we can get a Manolidis into his proper position. And we are going to drop a little bit of praise. Although we've just conceded a goal, and I wouldn't normally praise in these circumstances, sometimes you like to do a little bit of praise. That's got to be offside. It's a flick on from Damien. And Manolidis is in there, but it's offside. It looked clearly offside from where we were watching from. We don't even need the replay. Look how far offside he is. Ridiculous. Has anyone ever told him the rules? Who's the manager around here? Goodness me. Right, final substitution. Who have we got? Itebo can come off. Marola can come on for him on that left-hand side, where we know David Marola was very, very dangerous as an inside forward coming in off that left wing in the second half of last season. This was basically our front three for a lot of the second half of last season, with Jura actually losing his place in the team for a little while because Marola was doing so well on the left-hand side. So I'm not against Marola playing out there or even making that his own position long-term. Chiravella with the corner, looking for Marola, can't quite direct his header goalwards. Duffy, though, who has been a star every time he's been here before, but of course has never played for us in September. He usually turns up at Christmas the last 2 years. But now he's in for the next two. We're going to have had him for nearly 4 years. It's ridiculous how loans. I don't know. What are your thoughts down in the comments? Are loans broken? Or is this, I mean, you do get, that's poor from Damien. You do get long-term loans in real life. Maybe not for youngsters, though. I blame Southampton for just poor decision-making and letting us do it. I'm not going to say no if the option is there to do it. Why would I not want to do it? And it's not that I did the cheat that you used to be able to do, where you bring them in for a year and then immediately extend for a year. I went to Southampton. What a goal from Marola. What a contrast between Damien's miss when he's one-on-one and what Marola's just done there. That is how you remind me who the best striker at the club is. And it's David Marola. And that is a stunning goal to win us the game. Wow. What I was saying is we went to Southampton and asked for 2-year loans initially, and they said, yes, Marola's scored again. Well, there's a message firmly sent to Damien that he can't just... I think Damien, when he was here the first time, got to coast a little bit because he was so much better than everyone else in the team. That is not the case anymore. And if Damien wants to play, he's got to force this man out of the team. And that is going to take some doing because Marola means business. What is that? His 8th goal of the season already? And he's not even started every game. There's Bozic. Lovely bit of control from Bozic in the middle. We're going to grab a 5th. This seems unfair, but Damien's in, and there is number 5. Damien with the response to Marola. You know what? I'll play them both. If this is what life is going to be like with these two at the club, I'll play them both, and they can just try and outscore each other. So it's 3 for Damien today, 2 for Marola today. It's 5-1 to Apollon, and that is a beautiful little pass from Bozic. First indication of just how good he's going to be for us, and that's an emphatic victory. We are looking good. Can we win the league this year? It's a big if, and it's really going to come down to how we fare against Olympiacos. When do we play them for the first time? Ages yet. So I guess we'll do Sporting and PAOK in the next episode, I think. I know I usually show the first game in Europe, but we've seen lots of Europe already. And didn't we go away to... But didn't we play Besiktas in this competition last year? So we'll do Sporting and PAOK, and then we should be able to come back somewhere around. We could potentially do Besiktas and Olympiacos as the one after that. That seems like it works for me. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. I'm wearing a suit, for goodness sake. You got to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.